really do appreciate like everybody being here. And first of all, I wanna thank you, and I wanna like congratulate you, because this is the step that you need to take in order to like it's a Wednesday night. Like a lot of people said they were gonna come, a lot of people didn't come, and like you guys are here, you showed up because you want to learn and you want more for your financial future. So let's give yourselves a round of applause. Like everybody is here, everybody showed up. Okay, so the Compass team. So we're the Compass team. Me, Safraz, Vanessa. We have Macario. You might have heard from him. He's been working with us for like 2 years. He's our executive assistant. And then we have David as well. And David sets up appointments. But you might hear from any of us after this. But just know we're all a team. We're all the Compass team, and we're all working together. But Safraz is going to tell you guys a little bit more.
Again, thank you guys so much for coming. We truly appreciate it. The Compass team started about 5 years ago now. You know, many of you guys know we started just Blanca and I, and slowly and steadily we've expanded to now we're a team of 5. A little bit, you know, we've hosted many events, and like you said, it's our first time home buyers, and we really want to provide you guys with as much value as possible. And to be quite honest, you know, many of you guys have seen me present. I'm not presenting today. I'm not working with first-time home buyers right now, which is kind of why we have these professionals out here to guide you in the right direction. So one of the things is we were just talking about it. When I bought my first home 10 years ago, I wasn't an agent. I was a young kid. I went in 5 minutes in and out, and I came out and said, hey, this is the house. I went, bid on it, and then I started figuring everything out backwards. It worked then, but now knowing what I know, definitely a bad idea. I do not recommend that. And that's kind of why we have these guys here to tell you what to do in advance. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see, you know, first-time home buyers do is, and especially the finance people, is, you know, everybody's excited and want to get the journey started, but they get nervous when it's, you know, they have a great conversation with one of us. We talk to the finance people, and then, you know, everybody gets nervous because finance is taboo in culture, right? No one talks about money, credit scores, income, this and that. But that's why we're here, right? Our goal is to make sure that you guys understand that it's not just what you see, not just always 20% down. There's other alternatives to get you guys into the right places. So I don't want to take too much of your time, so I'll leave it with you guys, and let's get the show started.
Okay. So the first thing that we want to talk about is, so what we're going to do, we're going to be talking to you. If you have questions, like, feel free to ask the question, but just know at the end, we're going to try and keep it short so that at the end we have more time for Q&A and for questions. But like I said, at any time, like, you can either write down the question, or if it's important, put your hand up, ask the question. So there's 3 ways to buy. So resale, that's kind of what everybody knows. That's what you see the most often. That's, you go into a house and you can see, you can touch, you can feel everything is built and it's there, and you can buy that house. That's the first way. And that's what most first-time home buyers do, because you only have to put down 5, 6, it's the minimum amount that you're putting down. Pre-construction means you're buying a project or an idea that's, if it's like a detached or a semi-detached, something low-rise, it's going to be done in about 2 years, but you're going to have to put down at least 10%, most likely 20%, and a lot of them are 4 years if you're buying a condo, which most first-time home buyers are buying a condo, and that's 4 years, but what people like is that it's like a forced savings plan, and you're putting down money over time. The last one is an assignment sale. And with an assignment sale, you're going to be buying, basically, somebody bought pre-construction, and now what they're doing is they want to sell it. Maybe they can't close on it. And you can get great prices on an assignment sale, but they might have already put down 15%, 20%, and you have to have that money to give to them. So assignment sale, pre-construction, you need a lot of cash up front. Assignment sale, you can get a great deal. You need a lot of cash up front. Resale, you can see, touch, feel, and it's like, it's there, it's right in front of you. Okay, this graph, a lot of people get confused by it, but I'll try and make it as simple as possible. But this is just to understand how the market moves so that you can understand where we are today. So this is a 40-year graph. That's January 1994 to January 2022, and that's when things started to come down. I'll show you after as well. But 6.7% average appreciation. That's how much the market goes up on average every single year, 6.7%. So a lot of times people say, I want to save up more. I want to have a bigger down payment. But something that we always say is you can't outsave the market, because once the market starts going, it's hard to keep up with it. So yeah, that's the
Correction. It's 30 years.
30 years?
Yeah.
Good eye, man. Good eye. 30-year graph. Okay. So this is only 4 years. Okay? So we're here, average price at 850, and then to August 2024, average price is just over $1,050,000. So who knows what this point is right here? Anybody know? Okay, so when COVID happened, the people started buying. People started buying a lot because interest rates were so low. So interest rates were low, people started buying a lot, and then we got to this point. This is like February 2022, and this is when interest rates started going up, 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 and prices started coming down, down, down. And then we kind of evened out, but right now, we will be about right here is where that 6.7% line would be. I don't have the line on here, but it'll be right about here. So we are a little bit below it. To make it make more sense, this is that same graph, but with the interest rates. So the blue is interest rates, red is the price. I know it might be a little confusing, but this is during the pandemic, May 2020. The rates are so low, like 0.25%. This is so low. And as the rate starts going up, it went up faster than it's ever gone up, like ever. And for 4 years, the rate never dropped. That's the longest that we've gone without a rate drop. So you see here, the price is up. As this starts coming up, the prices starts coming down. So where we are now, the rate is starting to come down. The last three announcements, the rate came down. Okay, so now we're seeing rates coming down, and you see prices down. As the rate is coming down, the price is gonna come up. Okay, we don't have a crystal ball, but we study. We study the market, we study the stats, we study what's going on, and this is what we're seeing. So what I want you to understand is the news talks a lot. The news talks a lot and says like sales are down. Yes, sales are down, but let's look at it compared to 2004 compared to 2024. So one thing to know about Toronto, it's a world-class city, and there's people coming here all the time. Our population is growing. So in 2004, 5.17 million, and 2024, 6.43 million. So we have 1.26 million people more. That's a lot of people. And everybody needs a place to live, okay? So this is the amount of sales that happened. So in 2004, we had 83,000 sales, and in 2024, we're projected for 70,000 sales. So this is way less sales, but we have way more people. And what that means is there's a lot of people who are they're right there. Like it's these numbers, they don't really make sense if you know what I mean, right? Like the sales should be higher, so it's only a matter of time. Okay, the next thing that we want to talk about is purchasing power. So a lot of times, people think like, okay, I'm buying a $500,000 house, I'm buying an $800,000 house, I'm buying a $1 million property. What you kind of have to look at is what can you afford on a monthly basis. So interest rates is very important to know, right? If at a 1.5% rate at $3,200, that's an $800,000 mortgage. So you can afford a lot more when the rate is lower. But at a 6% rate, at same $3,200 a month, now you can only afford $500,000. So I mean, I'm not going to touch too much on it. Charles is going to talk a lot about the mortgage. You might want to come back to this as well. But that's just so that you can get a better understanding of what things look like on a month-to-month basis instead of as a huge purchase. So now Vanessa is going to talk to you guys about the buying process, and this is this is what we do whenever we're meeting with buyers. Vanessa, I'll let you take it away.
Okay, so you have all been congratulated already for being here and taking the first step in becoming a homeowner or being a first-time buyer. And so step one is to meet with our team. You've done part of that already, and then you'll have the opportunity to follow up with us afterwards to then one-on-one with any of the three of us, or myself or Bwanka, be able to go through this whole wheel all about you. Step number two is to get pre-approved. So to my right-hand man, who's on the left side, is Charles, who then can talk to you about financing, and that's the biggest step. Bwanka already touched on it, or I think it was Safras that said, talking about finance is taboo in our society, and sometimes that can feel uncomfortable to be exploring what you can and perhaps cannot afford. And that's why we work with great mortgage brokers like Charles, because the goal here is to empower you and show you what you can do and enlighten you to opportunities. So that's what we do in step number two, and go from there into step number three, which is the most exciting part for you. It's the part I love to do with you, and that's making your dreams come true. We find out exactly what you're after. Okay, so we'll do something called a buyer consultation, which one of you are gonna get to do with me tonight. And we find out exactly what it is that you want. From there, we can then look at what properties are available on the market and how that aligns with what Charles says you're able to get financing for. Once we've found the perfect home that matches your goals and your dreams, or whatever it is that you're after in your first home purchase, we then make an offer. So making an offer on a property, that's the paperwork part. Okay, so that's where we say, we are willing to pay this price for this property. We want it on this date. You want to take possession of it, or what we call close, have that home become yours on a certain date. This is where we put in things like conditions into an offer, which does liaise into step number 5, which is negotiating the price and the terms. So that's where, again, the Compass team, we are your best advocates, and we're working with other agents to come to an agreement to get an accepted offer that really is of your absolute best interest. Okay, so if what's most important to you is getting the absolute best price, which is usually most people's top priority, that's what we're after, and we negotiate with the agent on your behalf. Have people heard of conditions before? Maybe a little bit. So in our offer and in negotiating prices and terms, a condition might be something like conditional on financing. So especially if it's your first home, you want to make sure that you can afford, that you're able to get the financing for that property. So we may put in a condition, a financing condition, that gives us 5 days to work with Charles to ensure that we'd be able to get the financing for that property. Okay, so that's step number 5, is what we're doing after we've made that offer, and we're working on all those things. Finalizing the details is once we've got an accepted offer, congratulations, that's great, okay? And then finalizing the details in step number 6 is where we ensure we get the financing. If we had something like an inspection condition in a freehold property, so not a condo, that's when we go in and have that inspection. So we also work with other great services like inspectors to make sure that the home is the best investment for you and that it's sound and there's no surprises. Again, no crystal balls, but that's what we do in step number 6. So far, so good. Step number 7, closing. So when we talk about buying properties, that word is thrown around a lot, and sometimes people don't know what that means, closing. So closing is when the home becomes yours. It's when money changes hands. So we give the seller the financing, the money for the property, exchange hands, those keys become yours. The home is yours, the Compass team is celebrating you, and congratulations, you are a first-time home buyer. Okay, sound good? So far, were you able to sort of understand what it's like to go through the process of buying? Yes?
Step 2 versus the condition that you were talking about, the condition of financing.
Yes.
How are the two correlated? Because again, you're pre-approved for a certain amount,
Yeah.
right? But finance is still up in the air, right? Can you help me make that connection? I'm just trying to
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
know if that's
Yeah,
best, Charles.
Okay,
Yeah, I think-
real quick. So whenever there's questions, I'm gonna try to repeat it just because we are making a video and we want people to be able to hear the video, the question as well. So basically, the question is, tell me if this is correct or not. Is the correlation between step number 2 and step number 4 getting pre-approved and and number 6 and finalizing
The
details
condition of finance.
and the condition of financing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great question.
go ahead.
Yeah, so that's a solid question. I get that a lot. So understand that, funny enough, the banks work backwards, right? They don't actually review the deal until it's a live offer. So until you actually go purchase the house, that's when RBC, Scotia, TD, whoever, they will then look at the deal. Well, it's like, well, you think that's a little bit late. Why don't you look at the deal first, right? So that's why it's important to get pre-approved. So what I do is I actually underwrite the deal first, fully. I ask for all your income documents, check credit, identification, all that stuff. I underwrite the deal first. I'll present it to one of my underwriters, all right? And then based off my recommendation, I'll be like, hey, Vanessa, hey, Blanca, yeah, we're good to go, but please don't go a penny over 510,000, right? And then they have that number now, and they know, okay, that's our range, right? And then now what happens is they'll put a condition of finance on that. Now that means when you put your deposit, I have 5 business days to get a commitment from a bank. And within those 5 business days, at any time, you can back out of the deal and retain your deposit back, penalty free.
Okay,
If that makes sense.
that's clear.
Okay.
So quick thing for you, for if anybody doesn't know, can you just give us an overview of like what does that mean when you're saying I underwrite it?
So when I say I underwrite it, I will look at all of your income, debts, personal debts, liabilities, and I will know, essentially I know how the bank will underwrite the deal before it even gets there. So the deal, ideally, when I'm through with it, it's done from start to finish, right? So when I say I'm underwriting, I mean I'm looking at all the finer details to make sure everything fits the bank's criteria, from income to debt to credit, things of that nature. Yeah.
So if it's pre-approved, then by the time you make the offer, as long as it's between like that criteria,
Yeah.
it's like a guarantee basically.
Okay, one sec. Okay, so the question is, if it's pre-approved, it's like as long as it's between the criteria, it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's a good thing about the finance world. Nothing is guaranteed. So I cannot sit here and say 100%, which is why we have the condition of finance, right? Because that's to protect you, to retain your deposit back, and you can walk away free and clear, right? But that's why it's always important that, like, it's been a few times where I'll underwrite the deal, everything's good to go, and then next thing you know, there's something that maybe the client didn't disclose to me, right? Which this is where now transparency and working with people comes into play, right? Yeah.
Follow up. So, say, God forbid, something goes wrong and Mr. X paid, say, 30,000 towards the down payment.
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take for Mr. X to get back that money and like put another offer? Because like you have to pay another deposit if we put another offer.
Okay, so the question is, God forbid something happens and you don't like the place, and you've put a.
Not the place, just the financing thing, something.
Okay, something is with the financing you don't like, and you've put a $30,000 deposit. How long does it take to get that deposit back? I'll answer that. So it could be anywhere between 3 days to 2 weeks. Yeah.
Good question. Cool. Any other questions about any of these 7 steps? Yeah.
Which one of the steps when does the seller put the property off market and say that it's off market, or are they still accepting offers as they go?
Okay.
Do you want to repeat the
Yeah.
question?
So when does the seller take the property off of the market?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so the answer to that is as soon as we have an accepted offer, you have 24 hours to deliver the deposit to the listing brokerage, so to the seller's agent. Okay, so once that deposit has been delivered and received, then the property will come off the market. So they are, okay, go ahead, add to that.
Yeah,
You
so
can-
it will show as sold conditional, right? So if it's a conditional sale, it will show as sold conditional, and it will show like that until it goes firm. Firm
Yeah.
meaning, yeah, the conditions have been removed.
Also, you said that if it's a freehold, we we do inspection, and if it's a condo, we don't do an inspection. Why is that?
Okay, so the question is, if it's a freehold, we do an inspection, and if it's a condo, there's no inspection. Vanessa, you could take it.
Yeah, so in a freehold property, a freehold property is like a home, a detached home. There is so much more that you want to know about that is your responsibility as the homeowner. So you want to be inspecting things like the electrical, the foundation, is there water, right? Those sort of things don't exist as commonly in condos. It doesn't mean you can't put an inspection condition on a condo offer. It's just less common. Something that is more common in a condo offer is a status certificate condition, which is you reviewing the health, the financial health of the condo corporation. Does that answer your question? Do you have
Yes. And how much usually how much does it cost to get a house, say, inspected?
So the question is, how much does it cost to get a house inspected?
I work with a phenomenal inspector, and it can be like $350 ballpark,
Okay.
depending on who you work with, but and he'll fly a drone over the property and look at
Yeah.
the roof and that kind of stuff.
And another thing I want to touch about when you were asking about the why not do a home inspection with a condo and understanding a condo and freehold, a condo has a maintenance fee. Freehold basically is something that doesn't have a maintenance fee. It might have something like a pottle fee, which is like not, but the biggest difference is the condo, you're paying into something that takes care of the property. So a lot of times, even if it's like a townhouse, they're going to be taking care of the roofs. They're going to be like, if the window, you're not changing your own windows. The whole condo corporation is changing all of the windows. So you're not really, it's the condo has either taken care of it. Basically, when you walk in a condo, whatever you can see, that's what you get. Like, whereas with a home inspection, there's things on the outside that you have to worry about as well.
Does that answer your question? Thanks. Anything else? Good? Oh, did you have something? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is actually do step 2. So I'm looking for a motivated or brave volunteer who is ready to kind of speak into existence what they're looking for in their home. Who would like to do a buyer consultation?
Of course.
Joe? Oh, we'll do one with you after. I'll come see you after.
You can just put it on. Yes.
All right, so I already know you a little bit. Do you want to introduce yourself to the group?
My name is Josiah Whitney. I'm a tile contractor. If anybody needs any tile work done, I can give you my card.
There we
I do
go.
luxury and custom tile work, so high-end residential. If anybody wants to inquire, we can talk.
There we go. There we go.
I
We
like
like
it.
your style.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, so my first question for you is, what's the goal? What's the dream? We want to know what you're after. And then we'll go from there.
Well, the dream is to have a detached home on a couple acres of land outside of the city. So
Amazing.
that's the dream.
Inshallah.
Okay. Okay. Now.
So as we do this,
think about it for
this,
yourself
think about it
also.
for, okay, what do you want? What is it that you're after? So we normally do a pre-approval with Charles before we get to this step. Why we do that is we have a good idea of then what we're working with. So we may have this dream. You may have enough to do this dream and get a couple extra acres. We may be toning it down on what you could have.
Okay.
Right? So that's really cool on this goal. And we would know that if we were working together and we'd already checked with Charles. Okay?
Right.
Next, how many bedrooms does this home on your couple of acres have?
Well, it would be 4, and I'd be renovating the basement, so it would be at least 5.
Okay?
Are you okay with just 4?
I'm okay with just 4.
Okay.
Now, who do you picture living in this home with you?
Um,
You can make it up.
Okay, we'll just say me for now.
Okay, awesome.
We'll just say me for now.
Same answers.
Yeah.
There you go. Each of those bedrooms, you can have a little something different, a
Right,
tile
right,
office,
right,
or you can
right.
have some employees. Okay, cool. How many bathrooms?
4 bathrooms.
Okay. Now, what is your maximum purchase price? And again, you can make it up. Like, what would be the top that you'd be
The
comfortable?
top that I'd be comfortable with,
Spending.
say 1.5.
Okay. And then ideally, what are you most comfortable spending if you could get exactly what you want?
2, if I can get exactly what I want.
Okay, so those are opposite. Maybe I didn't ask it the best way. So your max would be 2 million, but you're looking to spend 1.5. Is that what
I
you're
would
saying?
like to spend 1.5, but if you're seeing your dream home and
Yeah.
it's a tangible form, then
2 is max.
yeah.
Got you. Okay, and then what's that style of home? So it's 4 beds, 4 baths.
It's a bungalow.
Love it. Define a bungalow. Great question. So a bungalow is an expansive property. It's just 1 floor. No upstairs.
But basement usually.
Walkout basement bungalow.
There you go.
Yeah.
And why is a walkout basement important to you?
Because I want to have a pool
Okay.
and I want to have like an outside kitchen. Walk out the sliding doors. You have your seating area, barbecue, living area. You could be out there in the winter as well.
Okay.
Fire pit, fireplace.
Yep. And does this place have that already? Or do you want to renovate that and customize it for yourself?
I'd probably be renovating
Okay.
it, to be honest. Yeah.
Awesome. So you described my next question, which was the outdoor space already. You got that. Anything else you wanted to add about your outdoor space?
So pool, most likely a pool house.
Okay.
Probably a garden, like a greenhouse as well, and like a coop for chickens.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have my own chickens.
Are
and
you a
stuff.
gardener? Like, can you do all that yourself? or
I'm
you-
not, but I want to get into it.
You want to be, okay.
Yeah, I can't do that in the city because I'm renting.
I like it. Okay, and is there a location, have you spotted or a spot you like or pictured where you are?
I don't really have like a niche
Okay.
area. It just depends on where it has like the actual property
Yeah.
that I want. Doesn't
So if I
matter.
could-
East, it could be east,
Yeah.
could be north, could be west. Doesn't really matter to me. to be
Cool.
honest.
So if I could find these things kind of anywhere within, how big a distance?
From here, I'd say within like an hour.
Okay? I like that kind of flexibility, Josiah.
You know what? I will say.
Yeah?
I will say east, maybe like Curtis area,
Okay?
maybe a little bit past Curtis, preferably a little bit west,
Yeah?
but around there, I'd say east, like Durham.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so that sounds pretty broad, so I assume you don't have like an ideal intersection. That's
No,
what I'm
no, no,
hearing.
I don't,
Okay,
I don't.
perfect. And then talk to me a little bit about your current living situation.
I'm renting right now.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you told me already you're renting in the city.
Right.
And is that what's motivating you to get out into something bigger? Like you're
Yeah,
done with
like
the
I'm
city?
just done with the city.
Okay.
Done with it. Yeah.
Alright.
Hey,
Hey, we already talked about what we're working on for you. No leases for you, okay? Charles is here to help you with what you need, okay? Josiah, is there anything like in the vicinity of where you want to live, like where you want to buy a home? What's important that's close by?
Highways.
Okay, highways.
Highways definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe just like local grocery stores.
Okay.
So I don't have to drive too far to eat.
You don't have
or
to
buy-
drive too
just
far to get the stuff for your grill.
Exactly. But that's about it. Highways and
Okay.
access to food.
Yeah.
Anything else I'll drive. Like entertainment, I'm not like,
Okay.
you know, I don't
Well, you
know.
got chickens. What do you need entertainment? And then what's your timeline? When do you see this happening for you? Within
Within 3 years.
Okay.
Within 3 years. I'd say 3 to 5, just to be a little bit more realistic, depending on the, the unknown. I'd say
Yeah.
3 to 5.
And again, you can make this up if you don't want to answer it or answer it. Like,
Sure.
what's the unknown for you? Why is it 3 to 5 years? Why do you say that?
I'd say the unknown would be, I'd say family life
Okay.
would be one. Another would be, I know this probably wouldn't be my first home. So depending how the market is, and my options, if I'm being advised by mortgage brokers and other real estate investors, like how long should I stay in my first home? Things like that.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah. So I there's a few more,
Yeah.
but I'll just pause there for everybody. This is kind of showing us like that's your goal. Why it's so important to talk to Charles. Like it really is. It can be a daunting thing to do to talk to mortgage brokers and disclose. I have this credit and I've done this and I've got this debt or I have this big lump sum of money. It can be uncomfortable to do that at first, but it actually is very empowering to have that conversation because then we can refine this dream
Right.
and make it into your reality in the timeline that works for you.
Right.
I think we have a good idea of what you're after, and again, we can chit chat to Charles and see what works for you. And it's an exciting time to be able to sit in front of this group and talk about what your goals and dreams are. So let's congratulate our friend Joe. Good job. Thank you for participating.
No problem.
Question, we have.
Go ahead.
I have a question with regard to what was just discussed.
Yeah.
Are you going to look for a house that's been built or something that already exists that suits his dream, or how does it work?
Okay, so the question is, are you going to look for something that's already built, or are you going to look for something that's kind of being built and that's going to go like into everything that he's looking for?
Yeah, so Josiah talked about being okay to do some of the renovations. So the things like that dream backyard oasis, he was saying that's okay for him to build for himself.
I probably just gut the whole house. Like I'm probably just gonna gut the whole house.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm a tile contractor, so I'm
do a lot of it.
just gonna deck out this whole house in tile.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's it all ties in together. So we find out, okay, what's the budget? And then we can look for as close to what his dream is. And then from there, we find out, okay, what's most important? We may not be able to tick every single box of what you're after. And that's when we find out, okay, what's really, really important for Josiah? What can he live without? What are non-negotiables for him? And from there, we find the best matching property that makes you really happy. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So basically, appreciate it, man. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. I got a little something for you after for being one to participate.
Yeah. So yeah, no, this is what we do with people, and we get a better understanding, and then we fully know kind of everything that you're looking for. And once we know everything that you're looking for, then it becomes a lot easier to find the perfect place for you, because that's really what we want to do, is we want to help you find the perfect place. And with something like this, breaking it down, we get to know like every little detail. I mean, we went a little faster than we normally would just for the sake of time. But it was really good that you could share that. One of the things that I talked about, I know you said like 3 to 5 year timeline. I talked about like you can't outsave the market. So I like that you said like maybe this is not going to be my first one, but yeah, a lot of times people they have a goal of what they want, but usually it's just better to take a step. Take a step, because when you're in the market now, as the home appreciates, you start building more equity, which you can use towards getting that next place. And sometimes it might be the second one, the third one, but majority of people move every 5 to 7 years. So it's good to get in when you can get in, and then that's gonna help you take the next step, the next step, the next step, and you come to our events and you become a real estate investor, and then you start growing everything like crazy.
I have another question, sorry. Can you elaborate on equity, please?
On equity, okay, so what is equity? So let's say you buy a place for $500,000 and you put down 100,000. Okay, so you put down 100,000, the bank puts down 400,000. Right now you have an equity of 100,000. Let's say the market goes up. I'm not gonna do math. I don't have my calculator. Let's say the market goes up and that house becomes worth 600,000. Now you have and you pay down 50K on your mortgage. Now you have $250 of equity.
$50,000.
$1,000, yeah.
$250,000 of equity. Are you getting it? Is that good
Are
or?
you getting cash and sell your house or what?
Okay, so then you say, okay, you know what? My house is worth 600,000 now, and I want to get something bigger. You sell your house, and now you have 250,000. You have to pay back the bank 350,000, and you take that 250,000, and maybe you go buy an $800,000 house. So that's building equity and using that equity to help you get the next place, right? Because out of that, all of that time, you're still working and you're still saving up. You can use that money as well. But this is just, you're just living, you're paying to have a roof over your head no matter what. We all have to pay to have a roof over our head no matter what. So if you're paying to have that roof over your head and it's building you equity, now you're able to take that to help you with that next purchase.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
It's okay.
Can you take advantage of equity without selling your house?
Yes, okay. So can you take advantage of equity without selling your house? This is what we talk about at some investment seminars, but we'll let Charles handle that.
Yeah, no, so 100%. So that's called this term you want to call, it's called a refinance. So you're remortgaging, refinancing the house. So in that same example, you purchase a house for 500,000, you put 20% down, right? So the bank gives you a mortgage of 400,000. So as Blanca said, 100,000 is the equity. But let's say 3 years go by, and all of the houses on your street, they've been appreciating like crazy. Obviously, newcomers coming into the country, things are moving in the right direction. The house is now worth. You see, oh man, my neighbor just sold for 580. The next neighbor just sold for 620. So the first thing what happened is we get an appraisal, right? A professional to come in and appraise the property to figure what the value is based off of the recent comparables in that area where you live. So let's say in this case, it is 600,000, right? 600,000. Now, the good thing with the banks is banks will only give you 80% of the loan of the valuation of the house. That's the most they'll ever give you, right? 80% against the value of the home. So if we do 80% against 600,000, we are at what, 540? Is that what it is? Am I right? 540? Okay, good. So what happens is your new mortgage now is 540,000, but you pay but you only owed 350 before, so you do 540 minus 350. All right. So 540 minus 350, quickly that is 190. Thank you. Right. So that comes back to you in cash. Right. You understand? Because 540 minus 350, you paid off the old bank. The remainder comes back to you cash in your account. Now you have $190,000 to go out and place as a down payment on a new property.
I have another question. With finance, there's always pros and cons, right? What are the benefits of doing the refinance? That's the term you use, right? What is the benefit of refinancing your house? And what are the disadvantages of refinancing your house?
For sure.
Okay. So the question is like, there's always pros and cons. What are the pros and cons of refinancing?
So I wouldn't say pros and cons. It's ultimately what is your goal with real estate? I start there, right? If your goal in real estate is to accumulate as much wealth and have as much properties, well, the only way to do that is not to sell. So you only have one choice. It is to refinance, right? But if you use I don't really care about having 2 or 3 or 4 properties. I just want to slowly just get into a bigger family home because I'm growing my family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, then I would say then there's no point in refinancing. Just sell, right? And that's the most obvious, right? Now, other things come into factor like affordability, right? If you decide to refinance and then move into a bigger home, what does that look like from an affordability standpoint? Can you afford to hold 2 mortgages, right? Are you planning on renting this one out? And if you rent it out, Does it cash flow? Are you breaking even? Are you going to be out of pocket every month, right? So these are some of the smaller, ancillary details that we talk about before you go ahead and pull the trigger, right?
But also in refinance, what you can do is you can pull the money without taxes. You can reinvest it
Correct.
and saving on taxes this way. So whatever money you take out as equity, you're not being charged any taxes because it's a loan. Then you can use it to invest, and you can make more money.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily in real estate, but in other things.
So in all of our events, like our investor events, this is what we're talking about. We're starting to go into like the investor pool right now. And is that what everybody wants to know about, or you want to know more about kind of first time home buying? Where's everybody's heads at?
There we go. Thank you.
We have, don't worry, there'll
come
be
back.
another
Yeah,
event
yeah,
where we're gonna be touching all on this. But I like where your head is at. You're gonna ask a question?
Okay, so I want to know, when you refinance, does your mortgage rate change?
Okay, when you refinance, does your mortgage rate change? This is the last one for about this.
Yeah. Maybe. It depends. It depends where the mortgage rates are in that current market, right? So the good thing is, if let's say a lot of people come up for renewal who are refinancing now, right? Chances are their mortgage rates are going to be higher than what they locked in at during the pandemic. Because pandemic, we were getting mortgage rates of like 1%, 1.5%, right? So what happens is the old money stays the same. But any new additional money, if you stay with that same bank, will be some sort of blended rate in between, right? Now, if the rates are lower, right? Because let's say you locked in at the peak of the market, and now you're refinancing and the rates are lower, well then you might as well just refinance the whole mortgage into the lowest rate, right? Because you'll be saving money.
It's determined by the market.
It's exactly where you are at the market would make the more sense.
Okay, so I love this conversation. I love talking about refinancing, using money to get more properties. This is gonna come, but right now we're gonna kind of bring it back to it. So Vanessa went through kind of what the buying process looks like. You guys understand that, what we do at a buyer consultation, and we appreciate you doing it. So we got a bottle of Compass Estates for you. So let's get on. We're gonna move on to Charles, and Charles is gonna be talking about kind of mortgages and what the mortgage process looks like.
Just before I pass it to Charles, I want to leave you with one last thing about that buying process and the buyer consultation. So we work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and sometimes what gets written down in this consultation, it gets morphed, it gets changed. We go into places and you're like, actually, you know what? I don't want that. So if you went through that exercise and you were thinking about what you want for yourself, sometimes it can change, and sometimes it takes going into properties that you think you want and realizing, okay, no, that's not what I want, to redirect you to exactly what it is that you're after. But the first step is doing this and figuring out what you think you want, and then it's our job to make sure we actually align with what you can get and what you do want.
Okay, Charles.
Okay. You can skip one more. I'll just get right into it.
Okay. You don't want to talk about submitting your paperwork? That's the biggest issue
okay.
we always
Do you know
see.
what? So this is the hardest part, right? After you've spoken with anyone, Safras, Blanca, or Vanessa, right, about what you guys want to do, what you guys want to buy, the style of home, etc. And then you guys get to me, right? Naturally, what happens is most deals get held up in the documentation process, right? And as you guys know, with the questions we asked before in the beginning, if the documents don't get presented, there's no way for me to actually give you a pre-approval, right? And one thing I always tell people what I won't do is I cannot give pre-approval based off of estimations and ideas, because I would be doing everyone a disservice, and then lawsuits come into place, things of that nature, and it just muddies up the whole process, right? So I always tell individuals, the faster you're able to give me the documents that I need, the faster I can pre-approve you, and the faster you can probably move into your house, right? So, and we've all been through this process. It's very important, because we need to be completely transparent to see what's actually going on with your personal financial profile.
Moral of the story: submit your paperwork.
Yeah. All right. I won't spend too much time on this just because I want. Yeah, that'll be amazing. I won't spend too much time on this, but everyone, a hot topic right now, everyone wants to talk about our mortgage rates, where our mortgage rates heading. Currently, right now, obviously with what's going on in the economy is weakening, and naturally what's happening is bond yields are going down. Bond yields is what dictates the fixed rates, right? Fixed rates, the 5-year fixed is the most common mortgage rate that most first-time home buyers get in, the majority. Very, very few people opt into variables. So that's why I'm saying every month we hear the Bank of Canada. Bank of Canada dropped the rate 0.25. Bank of Canada dropped the rate another 0.25 or 0.5. It's very important to understand the Bank of Canada rate drops has nothing to do with fixed rates. Bank of Canada rate drops controls variable rates. So if you're someone who's opting in a variable rate or already has a variable rate, which means it's subject to change depending on the economy, that applies to you. The fixed rates is more to do with economic and market conditions, and that's controlled by the bond yields. Now, as you're seeing here, bond yields are coming down, all right? When bond yields come down, it means fixed rates come down because what's happening is they need to stimulate the economy, right? They need to stimulate borrowing by making money cheap again because, again, there's a softening, there's a weakening of the economy. But I'll keep it very surface level there. Now, my favorite part about the process is this right here, and I'll kind of break it down. So one thing I'm really, really big on is affordability, right? Because if you can afford a property, then it eliminates the worry about the purchase price, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're taking consideration real estate is a long-term game, right? You're not going to just ideally hold on to a property for 1 or 2 years and then try to flip it. Ideally, if there's any, you want to be able to make sure you can afford it. So I do a very, very detailed, in-depth analysis when I do a pre-approval. I'll go anywhere from your top line, and I'll do increments of $50,000 down. So for example, if you see this 5-year fixed, let's say in this case it was Josiah, all right, although we couldn't get him his $2 million property, you do qualify for up to $700,000 maximum, all right? And what I'll do is I'll do a $50,000 increment decrease, 4 different options. That way we can see affordability, because most people just think about the mortgage payment, but they don't understand there's so much more costs that come into owning a home, right? And that really is going to dictate if you want to actually execute on that buy. Because what happened over COVID was, because rates were so cheap, people were just buying properties, $1 million, $1.5 million, right? Not understanding they were going to their top line pre-approval, never once thinking about property taxes, maintenance, utilities, etc. And unfortunately now what I'm starting to have are calls, Charles, I can't afford my property anymore. I need to sell. And now they're selling when the market's the slowest, for sellers at least, right? Inversely, that's an opportunity for buyers, right? But that's what's happening right now. So that's why, I'm like, you know what, after the mortgage principal and interest, I put this all together. That way you can see not only what your monthly carrying costs are with utilities included, but also closing costs. So this will be tough. I'm sure Blanco or Staffus would send this out to everyone. But let's just do a $600,000 home, right? Nice and easy. $600,000, a nice probably 1+ den, maybe 2-bedroom in the GTA right now, right? So on a $600,000 home, the smallest down payment you can put is $35,000. All right? You're carrying a mortgage of $565. Remember, anytime you're putting 5% down, there's the CMHC insurance premium you have to that gets amalgamated into the mortgage, right? So all in all, your new mortgage is $587,600. Right now, yes, go ahead, brother.
So about this insurance premium, if I have a life insurance, do I not have to buy this? Because that's what my insurance agent said.
No.
So the question is, if you have life insurance, do you not have to get the mortgage insurance?
No. So those are 2 different things. Life insurance that has home insurance is to protect in case anything happens to you, you pass away or anything like that. That way the mortgage gets paid off or whatever the remaining balance is, and then whoever your beneficiaries are, they would inherit the property free and clear, right?
After you get your house, come see me. We're gonna look into your insurance.
There it is.
Sorry?
Once you get to your house, come see me. We're gonna look into your insurance. Maybe they need some changes, but I can do that.
Okay,
Right?
great,
But CMHC insurance is to protect the bank. So remember what I said earlier. The banks will never give you more than 80% of the value of the home. Well, then you're thinking, well, if they never give me more than 80% of the value of the home, how can I put 5% down? Because that's technically 95%. The government of Canada comes in and says, hey, bank, don't worry, we'll give you an insurance. We'll insure the mortgage. Now, in case the owner defaults and doesn't pay, right, we'll reimburse you your full 80% back. And then the government can't takes the hit. You understand? So it's a risk mitigation factor. That's all that it is. So your life insurance does not cover that.
So once you pay down 20% of the mortgage, does that insurance go away automatically?
So the thing is, yes, technically, but remember, it's warped into the mortgage and it's amortized over 25 years. So technically, it's already warped into the mortgage unless you refinance it at the exact amount of time where there's no more insurance premium, which would be tough to time out, right? It's already amalgamated into the principal and interest payments over 25 years. So whenever you refinance it for the first time, right, as long as there's 20% equity of the home, at that point in time, it would be removed,
So
right?
if your deposit is 20% down, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
It's
Correct.
only for 5%?
Pardon?
It's only for 5%?
So, no, anything under 20% down.
Okay.
Anything under 20%, and then the insurance premium will change depending on how big the down payment is, up until like 19.99%, technically.
So, saving for the 20% versus jumping in at the 5%, right? When you do the math, does it make sense? Like, I mean, if you could jump in at 5%, right?
Yeah.
And go with the insurance, right? Is that something that you recommend someone do, like, given the fact that the market's appreciating as quickly as it is?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so the question is basically is it better to get in when you can at 5% and still have to pay that the insurance, or is it just better to try and save up and put down 20%?
Right? I would say most, if not all people, would take years to save up for 20%. So the better, so I would say get in at the 5% and allow the property to appreciate. Because at the time you get to 20% down, chances are that property has probably already gone up by 20%. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Safraz, you have more?
Well, yeah. Is there a difference between, let's say I put 20% down,
Yeah?
regular mortgage, versus a 5% down? Is there a difference in interest rate
Yes.
that
Yes.
help buyers?
Okay, is there a difference between the interest rate if you put down 20% and if you put down 5%?
Yes, there is. Most people are shocked when I say this. You get a lower interest rate when you put down 5%. Because think about it. The banks, remove the conversation about rate, for example. The bank, think from a risk mitigation standpoint, which one's safer? If you put down 20%, there is no insurance. So that means if you default on your mortgage, the bank still has to come out of pocket. But if you put down 5%, they get an insurance premium, which means no matter what time throughout the mortgage process, if you default, the government of Canada is going to reimburse them the full loan amount. So because it's actually safer for the bank at 5%, they're like, you know what, we have no problem giving you a lower rate.
And what usually is the difference?
Right now, maybe around 0.5%.
So the question is, what's the difference between the rates?
Right, 0.5%.
And how much does 0.5% makes a difference on a monthly payment?
Great question.
And how much does 0.5% make on a monthly payment?
So this way goes backward. This is why I always tell people rates actually don't matter in the grand scheme of things. So this is why. At 20% down, you can amortize the loan over 30 years. So that means you can stretch out the loan repayment over 30 years, bringing the monthly payment down. At 5%, you can only do 25 years. So you're shrinking, right, the repayment period, making the monthly payment go up a bit. When you do the math, even though the interest rate is lower by 0.5% on the 25 years, the monthly outflow is cheaper on the 20% down, right? Even at the higher rate.
So the higher the length of the mortgage, the cheaper the monthly payment?
Correct, because you're
Hold
stretching.
on. So the higher the mortgage, the cheaper the payment.
Yeah, that's my question.
No,
Okay.
no, not the higher. You're talking the mortgage or the amortization?
The
Yeah,
term.
Amortization.
there it is. So the length, yeah, 100% because you're stretching it out that much more, right? It's like financing a car over a 5-year term, over a 7-year term. The extra 2 years, you're stretching out that financing payment, right? Making your monthly costs come down, but you're paying more interest, right?
So if you could put down 20 and you could put down 5, are there times you'd recommend one versus the other?
Okay, so if you could put down 20%, if you could put down 5%, are there times when you'd recommend one or the other?
Again, I think it goes back to your financial picture, right? If you are someone who doesn't really care about amassing multiple properties, you know, you live pretty comfortably, you don't need the extra cash flow, put down 20%, right? But, you know, maybe you have a family of 3, you have a wife, you know, you just want to get in and obviously you need to save for school, this, that, and the third. I would say, hey, do you know what? You need an emergency fund. You don't know what could happen. Put down the 5%. From an affordability standpoint, it's going to be minuscule, right? Depending on the purchase price. It wouldn't make sense dropping down another 15% because that could be an extra like 100, 150 grand, right? You could do a lot with that, right? So
Okay.
again, it's case by case.
Okay, my man Paul.
So for the first time home buyer, resale is the way to go if you want to get in like.
So for the first time home buyer, is resale the way to go?
Wouldn't
Playing those numbers with the 5% versus 20%, because they know with the structured deposits for condos and stuff like that, you need 20%.
Not,
matter what.
not all build. That depends on the builder. I'll let Safras and Blanca and Vanessa touch on that. But depending on the builder, not all builders will force you to put down 20%.
Yeah, so it's basically you're wondering, is it better to do resale because you put down less compared to pre-construction because you're putting down more? Majority of the time in pre-construction, you're putting down 20%. Majority of the time. But you can find projects where you're putting down 15%. You can find projects where you're putting down 10%. You can find projects that are almost done and you're putting down 5%. But most likely, it's not going to be as good as if you're buying something right up the street resale.
Yeah, and don't remember with pre-construction, you're also buying it at you're buying at the current price now for a project that's going to be done in whatever 3, 4, 5 years. The future valuation is most likely, you hope, to be a lot more, right? So that's also the advantages. So again, questions like this, I think we need to look. It needs a deeper analysis of what your goals are and what you're actually trying to do.
Yeah.
Last question. So what you're doing here, the bank wouldn't do this for us. This is something that mortgage is going to do.
Okay, so the question is, what Charles does is nice breakdown. Is it just only mortgage brokers like you do it, or does the bank do it as well?
Unfortunately, no, the banks definitely don't do this. The banks definitely don't do this. No. This is most mortgage brokers don't do it either. I'll be honest, right? This is just something, especially because I work with a lot of families, new immigrants and stuff like that. So having more detail like this, we didn't even get through it, right? But I don't like surprises, right? So just even wrap up this $600,000 example, right? The monthly mortgage payment is $3,229.50. Once you include all utilities, and these are obviously projected numbers, that number goes up to, most people say, oh, I can afford $3,200. I can do that. But once you include all utilities, right, and property taxes, really you're paying $3,880, right? So it changes now. You're adding almost $600 on a monthly basis, right? Now, can you afford that? So I always tell people that's what you want to base your purchase on, right? If I go through with this transaction, can I comfortably afford carrying $3,800, or $4,000 a month?
Okay, let's get into the closing costs.
Okay, sorry, closing costs. $35,000 legals. You're looking around, depending on the lawyer. Right now, you're probably looking anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000, maybe even cheaper. You have 8% on the insurance premium, and then you have land transfer tax, which is a big one. Remember, when you're buying in the GTA, it's double, right? So in this case, land transfer tax on a $600,000 home is $8,400. If you purchase that exact home in the Greater Toronto area, it's $16,950.
So yeah, double.
Closing price?
No, that's the land transfer tax. So all in all, to close on a $600,000 home, your closing costs, including down payment, is 47,000.
And in the city?
And if you're buying in Toronto, it's 55,000.
And is there a rebate?
There is a first-time home buyer's rebate.
What is rebate, please?
You get money back on close. Not at the lawyer's office. You get money rebated back to you.
How much?
So if you're buying in, if you're buying in Toronto, right, you can take $4,500 off of the land transfer tax, right? If you're buying outside of Toronto, I believe now it's $3,700.
So people are encouraged to buy out of Toronto.
Personal preference.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So to be on the safe side, besides the down payment, how much should you have?
So on
Hold
the
on.
600.
So to be on the safe side, besides the down payment, how much should you have for your closing costs?
So if you're buying outside of Toronto, comfortably on top, so $35,000 is your down payment. All in, it's 47,000. So I would just round that up to about 12,000 on top, correct? If you're buying in Toronto, all in all was 55,000. So you're adding almost $21,000 to your down payment.
15 to 16,000 to get the safe side.
Correct.
Okay.
What is the PST? Like, I've heard all the names before, but this thing is new, the 8%.
Okay. So what is the question is what is the PST?
So this is tax in Canada, guys. So you have so not only do you pay the insurance premium of $22,600, they're also going to charge you 8% tax on that $22,000, right? So that's part of your closing costs as well. So on $22,600, all right, the insurance premium is $1,808,
And this you have to pay up front.
part of your closing costs.
What about, like, is it the same if you buy outside Toronto?
Yeah, it does. It's 8% of whatever the insurance premium is on that property. Yes.
Quick question, I feel like I missed on something.
Yeah.
The 30-year mortgage, is that only when you put 20% down, or you can also do that on 5%?
Okay. So the question is the 30-year mortgage, is that only when you put 20% down?
So I just want to make sure I understand your question. When you say 30-year mortgage, are you saying 30-year amortization or 30-year fixed?
Amortization, I guess. Right?
Yeah. No. So so 30 years only when you're putting 20% down, right? In America, they have what's called a 30-year fix. So you can lock in your mortgage for 30 years. Here, the most we can't do that in Canada. So that's all I was asking. We say 30-year mortgage, which one are you, yeah.
Wait, so some people were able to do the 1.5% during COVID for 30 years?
30 years.
We gotta go
Here is
from
5
there.
years?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years. Some banks will allow you to do 10, but not so much. Yeah. And so it's weird. It's only at certain times, right? So during COVID, they're offering 10-year mortgages. They're not doing it right now.
Okay.
If you wanted to pay your mortgage down faster than the 30 years, is it just a matter of putting in more money and
Yep.
allocating it to the principal rather than the interest, or how would that work?
Okay, so the question is, if you want to pay it down faster, is it just putting more money in more often, or allocating it
Yeah.
to the?
So every bank will have what's called a prepayment ability, right? So on top of your regular scheduled principal and interest payments, right? Usually they'll allow you to put an additional 15 to 20% per year directly towards the principal balance.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
This is the last question. We're gonna get you at the end. We gotta keep moving. Okay.
I heard that when you purchase a property, this is something like insurance that just in case someone sell your house and the insurance will cover.
Insurance title.
Insurance.
Title insurance.
Title insurance.
Title insurance.
Okay. So
Yeah?
No.
No.
So that's part of the lawyer costs, roughly 2,000.
So that's the title insurance also included in the lawyer fee.
Correct.
okay. So that question was about title insurance. Okay. Last one, quick, and then we're moving on.
So let's say you're 40, right? Should you have more to put down on the property or not?
Sorry, say that again?
Yeah.
Let's say you're 40 years old and you want to buy maybe your first house.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to put down more of the down payment?
Okay. So is this your question? Does your age affect how much you have to put down? Okay.
No, it doesn't. No. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's it. We're gonna move on.
Yeah,
We're all gonna be here. We're gonna be
Yeah,
able to
yeah.
talk to you after. I'm loving this conversation. I'm loving that everybody likes to do it. But in the sake of time, we want to keep moving. You have a quick question or a long one? Okay.
For the down payment, 5% or 10% down payment, how much maximum price we can afford?
Okay.
Or bank or mortgage allowed to go through?
Okay, so the question is for if you're putting down 5% or if you're putting down 10%, how much will the bank allow you to?
Maximum.
What's
Yeah.
the maximum that the bank will let you to go?
So it really depends on your income, right, and how much personal debt you carry. So let's say if you have no debt, and we're just looking at income and mortgage. Rule of thumb is if you're putting 5% down, multiply the household income by about 3.5, and that's the mortgage you'll qualify for. If you're putting down 20%, all right, multiply the household income by 4x, and that's probably roughly where you're going to get your mortgage amount.
Okay, but
Household income. Yeah, household income. Whether it just be yourself and your partner, household income.
okay, so one thing on that is it used to only be able to buy up to $1 million with under 20% down. Recently, that just got changed to 1.5 million with less than 20% down.
Oh, great. I just want to hear.
Okay. Okay, so now it's time for Chris. He's a financial advisor. He's going to be talking about sub-zero mortgages, which is pretty new. But I'll let you take it away.
Hi, my name is Chris. I'm in wealth management, and my sole job is to make you richer. So I don't sell mortgages. I look at your situation and I maximize it. So what we came up with is the sub-zero mortgages, where you can come in at $0 and can come out with more money than you came in, which is amazing. So, but you have a requirement. Your requirement is to have minimum 700 credit score, and the 1.5 million minimum, because you have to qualify for a first home buyer, which is really important because that's part of the strategy. You can switch it. So how does it work?
You have 1.5 million in cash?
Sorry?
I don't understand 1.5 million.
So we said that basically for a first home, the maximum under 20% down is 1.5 million for the price of the home. Yeah. Before it was 1 million. So basically, working with Charles will be amazing. He's going to do anything for you. But if you add me, we can actually come up with something even better sometime when it comes to down payment. Because I guess the biggest obstacle is what? Down payment? Is it? For everybody? Good. What? Sorry?
We need you, please. Anyway.
So what happened when we come in is with some financial engineering, we get you an RSP loan, and you can get some nice refund from the government, and you actually can use the RSP loan as a down payment because it's your first home. You can go up to 50,000, and that helps you grow tremendously. So if you're a couple, you can get 100,000, and you can use that money as a down payment. So basically, you can buy the house of your dream after with the Compass team, and you have no money coming out of your pocket. So when you come in to my office, we prepare you to. It's a long journey to realize your dream. It can take 2 years, can take a year, depending. But basically, we set you up with a certain amount, and after that, we're gonna pre-approve you with the mortgage brokers. But first, there's certain things in your financial situation that we need to fix sometimes.
So that doesn't
Yes.
towards your debt ratio of 100,000?
Sorry?
Will that 100,000 be calculated into your debt ratio? Like,
Depends.
Hold on. Okay, so the question is, would that 100,000 be calculated into your debt ratio? And I just want to make it clear, it's 50K a person, but if it's a couple, 100K.
Yeah. So depending on which institution we do it with, all these programs cannot be done at the bank. You need a financial advisor to do it. So we can do it with B2B. There's also Manulife and different banks like that. So it's probably why you didn't hear about it if you don't have a financial advisor. And basically, sometimes also when you actually, some of them don't appear on your credit score as well. So yeah, some of them.
How long? It doesn't happen on the credit score for how long?
No, they just don't report it.
Okay.
Some of them, not all the time.
So the question was, how long does it not appear on your credit score and they
Yeah.
just don't report it?
What's the catch? Like, why are you giving the money? How you get it back?
Okay, this is a good question. What's the catch? Why are you giving the money? How do you get it back?
Well, the money is not free, but it's becoming cheaper now. So yes, so basically it's a loan, so you have to pay for it, but it's becoming cheaper because the rates are going down. It's a variable rate loan, the RSP loan, that's being used. So basically, you're not putting any money, that famous 60,000 we're talking about. Let's say you and your partner, you're buying a house, you don't have to put that 60,000. You get that loan, and it pays it for you. So now, how do you pay for it? There's a few ways for us to get you to 100,000. 100,000 at closing, or around, so 6 months, within 6 months, something like that, where you can get 100,000 in your pocket. So we can, shall I work the numbers?
You can work the numbers. Let's take this question quick.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a very good
Okay.
question.
Okay. So the question is, once you get the loan, do you not have to put in a savings account, RSP savings account, and not have access to it for 90 days?
No. So how it works is the RSP loan goes to an investment, and from the investment, since you're qualifying for a first home, you can withdraw it within 90 days without. But that strategy takes more than 90 days. The sub-zero mortgage takes more than 90 days because you have to talk to him, you have to talk to him, you have to talk to me, and everybody.
How long does it take?
It could take, depends. It can take minimum 90 days. It can go up to 6 months, maybe sometime 3 years, depending on the situations. Everybody.
And it's a loan from the government, not the banks.
No, that's a loan from the banks.
Hold on. It's a loan from the government, not the banks.
No, that's a loan from the banks. But these are investment banks and different type of banks. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. We're coming to you next.
I just had a lot of questions about that subprime loan. Like, you would probably do this like a year prior to even considering buying.
Okay, hold on.
What's the term of the loan? What's the interest rate?
So the question is, you would probably do this a year prior to buying, or like way earlier before you're buying because of
It's not as
the rates?
Yeah.
Because of-
Oh, it's not quick. You're just asking. It's not quick.
Is great if you don't have cash and you want to get access to money, but then you have to prepare yourself prior to even considering buying, that this is the strategy that I'm going to take.
Yeah, so basically it's a wealth management strategy that includes not just the RSP loan. Now I'm simplifying it. There's the RSP. There's also the mortgage, but there's also the taxes, because when you get the RSP loan, based on your work, how much you're getting back in taxes, so you're gonna receive that as well. Plus, there's through the mortgage. Certain mortgage gives you cash back as well. So there's a few details there and also we add some life insurance strategies that gives you some money at the same time. So all of it together brings you in 10 years with a house that we bought for $600,000, based on someone that makes $75,000 a year with their partners and $5,000 a year as well, brings you to a net worth of $800,000, just based on an example like that, over 10 years. So it's a loan program. It's not quick. It's not something that you're gonna do. It's Canada here. We're gonna be millionaire very quick.
And then
But
you just said there's an income requirement as well.
no, there's not. It depends on the house,
Hold on,
like you
hold on.
said.
So the question is there an income requirement?
Yeah. It depends on the deal, depends on the house. So the higher the income, then it'll be better. Depends if you are buying a house in Calgary, then I guess your income can be much cheaper. So it really depends. Much lower.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay.
So the RSP loan and the mortgage is gonna be two different payments, or do they like?
Okay, so the RSP loan and the mortgage is two different payments? That's the question?
Do two different loans, or is it gonna?
No, well, you can pay them at the same date, but they are completely different.
So then you have two payments.
So then you have two payments.
You might have more, I don't know. We have to look into it.
Okay.
And how long will it take for you to pay back the debt?
Okay, the question is how long do you think it will take to pay back?
The
loan?
RSP loan, it's fully open, and it's you have no penalty when you pay it, and it's based on 10 years, 120 months.
Okay, hold on. We're going back corner.
And then is there a credit limit or a credit score?
700.
What credit score do you need to have? 700?
700. No income verification under 50,000. We can get you more, but depending on with the full underwriting. The minimum, yeah.
Okay. You, and then we'll come over here.
My question is this: what if you don't have space to, let's say you can get a $50,000 RSP loan, right?
Mhm.
What if you don't have that space in 50,000 like, you have no work in Canada for long to apply 50,000? What is the way forward?
So the question is, what?
What if you are using them an RSP limit?
Oh, so you're saying what if you've already hit your RSP limit? What?
So you, how much money that so you borrow money from the bank and put in your RSP account, right? What if you don't have enough space to put 50,000 in your RSP account?
Okay, so you're saying, yeah, okay, so what if you don't have enough space to put in your
I thought if you don't have
RSP?
enough space in your bank account, I was like, what? But yeah, so your accountant, I'm not an accountant, so your accountant, what it's going to do is going to move your deduction to another year. Yeah.
And what's the interest you charge on that 50,000?
Okay, so what's the interest you charge on the 50,000?
What's a really good question because next month is going down. So we can talk about it for next month, yeah. October is going down.
What about right now?
Oh, right now? Oh, it's about, I don't know, about six plus something, yeah. Depending, but it's variable and also based on a few things. So it's a variable rate. So it changes each time that the rate goes down.
How much a month for 50,000?
How much a month for 50,000?
50,000 currently is about 590, something like that. Yeah. Currently.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna go here, then we're coming to you.
This is different than the home buyer's withdrawal that you do the 15-year payment plan with the government. So you are allowed to take out money in your RSP without penalty to buy a property.
Okay,
So this is separate from that. This is in addition to.
Are you?
strategy.
So the question is, are you allowed to? I missed it.
No. I understand the question.
That they're offering is different than the government allows first-time home buyers
Yeah.
to withdraw from the RSP up to, I think it was maybe 35,000 if I remember correctly.
No, now it changed in June to 60,000.
Okay, so $60,000.
Yeah.
This strategy is a part of that term, or this is something separate?
Yeah, it's part of that. So basically, that's why you need the 90 days. And then with the government, that's why we put in an investment. And let's say, for example, you said it might take a while, right? So let's say you put it, you can take, let's say, an RSP to save on the monthly payments at 40,000. Then let's say in September, then you close your house in April with the help of the Compass team. And you all prepared and everything, then by then your investment might be higher. So you'll be able to withdraw 60 and to use it on your house.
Okay, we're coming to you next.
For these 50,000, if we get paid it early, if there is any duration time to get paid off that 50,000?
Okay.
Pay for the RSP, or we can able to pay earlier, or what's the next one?
Okay, so this is a great question. Are you able to pay that 50,000 loan? When you get the 50,000 loan, are you able to pay it back earlier?
Yeah. So what some people do sometimes, the banks don't like it, but they will take the loan, they will withdraw it and repay it right away and just take the refund from the government.
Because of the interest rate maybe lower in the bank rate, in the mortgage. So maybe the 50,000 will be more interest rate, technically little bit more, I believe, right? Is it true?
So,
not
so
sure I understood.
hold on. The question is, if the mortgage rate comes
The
down.
regular mortgage interest rate and the RSP, the 50,000 mortgage rate is close, same, or is kind of?
Okay, is the RSP loan rate the same as the mortgage rate?
Regular mortgage rate.
Oh, that depends on what you get with your mortgage broker. I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
So it comes normally in that strategy, the RSP will come before the mortgage. Yeah.
So if I see, like, for example, RSP is more interest rate than the regular mortgage rate, then I do the, like, 1 year, 2 years later, I do the refinance and then paid up the RSP, that money, it's gonna be happen or not?
Okay, so the question is, if you get the loan, and then 1 or 2 years later, the home is worth more.
Oh, can you?
If you can refinance and pay it
should
off
we
because
refinance and pay it
You
off?
can
because
pay
the
it off
mortgage rate is
anytime.
cheaper.
So that's what people do. For example, someone will come and they want to do a refinance. So I will give them the RSP. Then after we do the refinance, pay the RSP, and they're gonna wait for a refund from the government of maybe 20,000. and they already paid the RSP.
Okay, okay. I just want to make something clear. So, when you're buying a house, Charles talked about it. Then the last place he talked about, you need, for the $600,000 house, you need what? What was the number? 50,000.
Yeah.
You need 50,000 down. Okay. Then you get a mortgage from the bank. What Chris is talking about is here's how you can get some money, a RSP loan, to put that 50K down. That's what he's so they're two separate things. The RSP loan, it's gonna have its own interest on it, and the mortgage, it's gonna have its own interest on it, and you can pay them off however you like, but they're two separate things.
Yeah, disclaimer, I have nothing to do with real estate. Yeah.
Okay, right here. We're coming to you next.
Quick question on the refund. You said 20K back from the government. How does that work?
So hold on. He wants to know about the refund, 20K from the government. How does it work?
Okay, so the strategy here, when we say that you're getting 100,000, so basically that includes, we said in the example here that you put a down payment of about maybe 50, let's say 35,000. You get to 100,000 minus your 35, you're left with 65,000. And because you took that 100,000, you and your partner, then you get a refund. And let's say both of you make 75,000 a year, you should get about 12,000 in refund from the government each. So round it up to 25,000. So you get 25,000 refund in April, plus you have 65,000. We invest that at 12%. You don't always have access to that money though. Right. And that's where you bring your net worth with the value of your house going up, with your investments going up, and you get to $100,000, $800,000 in value for a house of 600,000, basically. It's based on that idea.
Okay. Any other questions? So okay, right here.
I just want to know who's like ideal for this type of thing. It wouldn't be like a new immigrant. It would be more like, I don't know, a real estate agent who's getting commission, and they may have some of the money, but they may not necessarily want to use it in this way. So they'll employ your strategy to get access to the money and then go from there.
So the question is, who's ideal for this strategy?
So the type of people, no, actually real estate, no, because basically they don't have a salary. So it's more for somebody who's under salaried. So you have a proper employment, not like a self-employed, something like that. That's ideal. And so you get the refund, right? The actual refund, unless you have a very structured company. And somebody who has some, you've been working, you have some like 80,000 maybe in income per year, or maybe less, depending on your partner. But ideal is two people buying a house together. That's ideal.
Can it be more than two?
Well, yeah, it could be 3 or 4, yeah.
Can it be more than 2, 3 or 4?
Yeah. But if someone doesn't want to use it, sorry.
Okay. So what she said, or is it also good for someone who doesn't have a down payment?
Yeah, so it's more about saving on down payments, because us in finance, we always recommend people to use leverage. Not always, but a lot of the time it's better because you save on a lot of things using leverage. But sometime let's say you have the down payment, but you could do something else with that money. So.
Okay. Something that I want to add here is, I think it's very good, like you said, for someone who doesn't have the down payment, but you have a good amount of income that you're going to be able to still make the payments. You're going to get into the market, and either you refinance and pay off that loan, which I think is the best, or you create a plan to just put money towards it every single month. Okay, we're gonna go here, and then we're just gonna questions about anything, and then we're gonna shut it down. Okay. Okay.
My question is for Charles.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever heard of the halal mortgage concept?
Yes.
That now a lot of Canadians are mad about for some reason.
Okay, the question. Yeah.
But yeah, can you?
Hold on. Can you talk about the halal mortgages?
Yes. I'll be honest with you, I'm not an expert on it by any means, so I don't want to misquote or anything like that. I actually have a few questions myself, because I understand you can't pay interest, right? But there are fees.
Of course, yeah. No, there are fees.
Fee. fees, but so either or, when you look at it, it's a cost to borrow.
Yeah.
By definition, and this is where I just get confused, right? Because I'm thinking, well, the way we look at mortgages, on all mortgage commitments, you'll see what's called an APR, annual percentage rate, right? So they'll take the interest, right, and the loan and see what is the APR, what's the cost to borrow this money. Fees are a part of that.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna give you money for free, obviously.
Yeah. So this is where it's like and this is where I become I'm not an expert. So this is why I don't know too much, because in my world I can't charge a fee. Like the bank can't charge you a fee. Like Scotia, TD, RBC, there's no fees, but there's interest. But a private mortgage, right? For example, they can charge you 10K, 15K, 20K for the mortgage, right? Which is indirectly interest. So this is where I always get confused in terms of no interest, because it's like, well, it's not, there's still a cost to the money.
The government of Canada approved it now.
Mm-hmm.
Did that trickle down to you guys or not yet?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And, yeah, I think this probably a bigger conversation outside. Yeah.
Yeah, already just into the announcement, they are bringing halal mortgage. That's what he was asking.
Yeah.
The market, no interest. Because halal mortgage
Actually, I've been
means there
asking
is no
about it
interest.
20 years ago.
Yeah,
Not
the
only
halal
that.
mortgages, I looked into it too.
Yeah.
Let's say the bank is giving you 5%. The halal mortgage is fantastic for them. Typically, the rates are like 10%. But it's halal though, because instead of charging you 5% interest, they'll charge you
A fee.
substantially more fee.
Fees, no.
Which
But
will,
then, of course,
the
you know,
cost of
whatever
borrowing
you call it.
will still be the same.
Yeah.
Apparently
Actually, a
it
lot
always
more.
existed.
What?
Apparently it always existed.
Listen.
It always has. It's existed for 20 years
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
It just hasn't been popular. Of course.
Okay. Okay.
Is this open questions now?
Yeah, let's
so
just
you
go.
guys know we're like all of us are going to be here still.
Yeah, we're-
And if you have any specialized questions, you can sit around.
So we're gonna take one last question, you, and then we're gonna, after we leave, like
Mobilize.
everybody we'll be here. We can answer questions. We can talk later. But there, some people got places to go, and we want to respect their time. Okay.
Question for Chris here. After taking that loan, does it make a difference on what I'm approved for the house loan? Because say I've talked to other mortgage agents, if when I have a car payment, it goes down. Does it affect?
Okay. So question is, if you get the loan, the RSP loan, does that affect the amount that you're going to be able to get for a mortgage?
The answer is it depends if it reports on your credit bureau, as Chris said.
So does it?
Yeah, it will depend on that, and also, well, sometimes there is because it's an investment and a loan. So sometimes if your loan is higher, the investment is higher than your loan. So let's say, for example, if you do it on the 1st of October, you get your RSP loan, then you buy your house in a few months, then the investment will be much higher than your loan, most likely, hopefully. So basically, that's going to change a lot the perspective, the value of the loan, I guess.
So essentially, if it does show up on your credit bureau, unfortunately, it will show up as a payment.
So being a mortgage advisor, would you advise to get that loan or not?
Being a mortgage advisor, would you advise to get that loan, the RSP loan?
Yeah, I don't see it as a bad strategy. Is it for everyone? Definitely not, right? Because at the end of the day, depending on how it's structured, especially with Chris, as long as the investment makes sense and there's the surplus where you have ways to confidently pay the monthly payments through the different investment strategies that he puts you through, right? And there's a return there, then I say all for it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's still helping you get into a property, right? But is it for everyone? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're not going to take any more questions, but like we said, we are going to be outside. A big thank you from all of us for you guys coming out. Before you go, so you guys have kind of understand the buying process. We got a paper for you guys. We also got a book. So in the book, it's people always wonder like, why are you guys giving away a book? Why are you giving away all the secrets? So we want you guys to have more knowledge. We want you guys to have more education. Okay, hold on. Give me like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So I just want to go through this really quick with you guys. If you already filled it out, that's great. Give me 2 minutes, man. Come on, man. 2 minutes, and then you can go. Huh? 4 minutes? I appreciate it. Okay, some people who didn't fill it out. Let's fill it out together. It doesn't take too long. So first one, how would you rate the event overall? Don't worry, we're grown-ups. 5, I appreciate it. Hey,
It's the real temperature check.
yeah, if you want to go 4, 3, 2, 1, we don't mind. Hey, just so you know, fun fact, the Compass team has over 100 5-star reviews. So we appreciate everybody that we work with, and I think they appreciate us. Was the topic valuable? On a scale of 1 to 5, all of our events, we want to make them better. So I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. What other topics would you like to know about in the future? Lots of people wanted to know about kind of the next steps once you have a house, HELOC, refinance. What are some things that you want to know about? Because we will let you guys know about future events, and we're doing them often.
Halal mortgage.
Halal mortgage. Call Safraz. He will tell you. Charles is going to find more information for you.
I gotta dig in now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so would you like a buyer consultation? So what we did with, what Vanessa did with Josiah, that was a buyer consultation. You see, it does maybe like 15, 20 minutes. From there, you go on to Charles. Charles tells you how much money you have, what you need, and you go talk to Chris, and maybe you get more money towards the down payment. It's really up to you. But we got a wine for him, so we got lots of wine. He was even asking, like, hey, how do I get some wine? Can I buy some wine? We never sell any of our wine. We give it to our clients. We give it to people who we're seeing often. If you sign up for a buyer consultation today, you're going to get to go home with a wine. David's going to be outside. You can talk to him and get it signed up. He has access to our calendars. And what time is going to be best to contact you, morning, afternoon, or evening? But the easiest thing is just going to be talk to him today, set up a time for us to sit down and talk. You guys learned so much today. You have the knowledge, and you see that this is just the next step. So we really appreciate you guys coming by. Thank you so much for your time, and have an amazing evening.
Thank you for the informal and the material.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yes. That's good, man. Your first event.
Thank you.
You already got a watch. So most of our events are catered towards investors, but right now is a great time in the market to buy. We just had our first-time home buyers event, and it was incredible. Everybody said it was super informative.
Yeah, this one was fantastic. We haven't done one yet, and this was a smash hit, as you can see. So we're telling everybody it's a great time to buy as the interest rates go down. We're seeing prices still stagnant. What are you waiting for, really?
Yeah, so we're always doing events, again, usually catered towards investors, but here's a perfect time to get into the market. If you're a first-time home buyer, don't wait. Watch the video, check it out. It's the time.